an organized environment. And that's very, very helpful. So I will appeal, using the words of the Chancellor, that we all row in the same direction and do the best we can for this continent, not just for Mandela University, but for every black youngster looking for a way in life. You know, I told the youngsters that I met this morning, I may be wrong with my statistic, but 95% of us come from humble stock. We come from humble stock. And the one fundamental that changes society is education. So I implored them, I impressed it on them, you can be anything tomorrow. You can be baking bread, but please utilize this opportunity of being here and make the best of it. Get well educated. It will always serve you right in life. And I also told them, if you did that, if Nelson Mandela University gives you that foundation upon which you move, you have a duty to look back and give back to Nelson Mandela University. Part of the reason that motivated my wife and I agreeing to set up a bursary scheme at New York University, and also in my primary university, which was University of Lagos. In fact, I had a debate with the current Vice Chancellor, who was my contemporary, and she was accusing us of not doing enough. I said, because you guys haven't been accountable enough. So, so you have a duty. But first and foremost, let us give them the education that will serve them for life. Let me close this little remark and reflection with another quote from the great man himself. And this is very straightforward, and I think it's something we all intuitively understand if you've experienced it. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Don't be too ambitious, change your community first. Change your community first in small and big ways as best you can. And like I said, it's not always money, as important as it is to make out the time to shine a light somewhere for someone. Mentor. If you can open doors, open the doors and give a kind word. And I must tell you, I mean, I don't know if it's controversial, but one of the things I told the youngsters that I met this afternoon was, yes, you are receiving very good education at Mandela University, but please try to internationalize your mind. Try to internationalize your mind. Let the confines, what you are taught within the confines of the university, let it not be the only education you have. Be curious about the world. Be curious. Read as voraciously as you can. And take advantage of what the bigger world has to offer, because Nelson Mandela University has given you the foundation to build on it. So part of what I'm going to be doing in due course is the very bright ones, to expose them to the opportunities of graduate work. And I was telling Tobe, at the time I was in graduate school, you never paid for a PhD program. Because once you start the program, you're a graduate assistant teaching, there's a small stipend, and you have tuition credit free. So I urge them to please internationalize your mind. Internationalize your mind. Get a good education here, because it's such a solid foundation. And before coming, Chancellor, I had time to look at the faculty. She knows I'm a very curious type. So I read virtually the background of all the departmental heads. So let me close. But education alone is not enough. When combined with opportunity, mentorship, courage, and capital, that's when the world begins to change for you and for your community. So please, the academics here, the smart ones here, give them good education, but I appeal to the wider audience. The education alone will not make it. They need your assistance as they plow through life. You need to handhold them. You need to help them create opportunities. Open the doors. Spend time mentoring, talking. By the way, I like talking. That's why my daughter said I must put it down in writing. So tonight, my dear friends, we have the chance to fuel not just businesses, but bold futures for our younger ones. Let us commit ourselves to a new generation of innovators, problem solvers, and change makers. They need us. I thank you all very much. And something coming out of the Mandela quotes, and I tweaked it a little bit. I said, let's make the impossible possible together, make the impossible possible together. It's a collective, and we all have to row in the same direction. I thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ojukwu. Thank you for affirming the continental and global relevance of this initiative. Where are my movers and shakers? Have we filled the forms? Can I do a test to see if we filled the forms? I'm going to ask, do we have roving mics in the building? Okay, there are 2 roving mics, and I just want to check if any of you want to tell us what you are pledging this evening. Remember, if you've seen this form, you'll see that the pledges can be made in different forms: training or workshop, support, equipment and tools for entrepreneurs, in-kind contributions, sponsorships of programs or events, or maybe it's internship opportunities. So can I see just a show of hands, and we'll bring the microphone to your table to just indicate to us what you are pledging. I want to see our first movers and shakers this evening. Can we do that, please? Be the brave one to raise your hand and to tell us what you are pledging this evening. And let me warn you, if you don't raise your hand, I will pick you. I will just face your direction and I will point at you. They will bring the microphone to you. So to avoid that, let me see who is brave enough to tell us what they are pledging this evening towards the fund. All right, we've got a hand over there. Can we get the mic over here? Thank you very much, sir. You can tell us your name, surname, where you're from, and what you're pledging this evening.
Hello everyone, my name is Joshua Klekwa from a company called Ekasi Investment Group. I am pledging mentorship and coaching.
Okay, that's one of our first movers and shakers. Thank you so much. There's another one over here. Can we get the microphone?
Okay, I'm Mamke, and I already pledged 100 Rand a month. These are all my babies here, so every little counts, right?
Thank you very much. All right, come on, this side, you can't be beat. Oh, over here. Can we get the microphone?
Greetings everyone, my name is Randolph Bruce Smith, the CEO of Alfred and Zoe Agricultural Incubator. Today we're pledging 2 things, mentorship and training, and then we're pledging 100,000 for sponsorship and events.
Thank you very much. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll keep on coming back. Okay, let's take one more and then I'll keep on coming back because there are more speakers coming and I'll be checking the tables to see what you're pledging. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Billy Bukaku from the Small Enterprise Development and Finance Agency. And through our partnership with Mandela Hub, we would like to pledge $250,000.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's what we're talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, I will come back to some of you to tell us what you are pledging, but we are about to hear from our keynote speaker this evening before we get to dinner. And our keynote speaker this evening is a national champion of enterprise development and inclusive economic participation. So please stand with me and help me welcome the Honorable Minister of Small Business Development, Ms. Stella Tembi Sandabeni, to deliver the keynote address. She says you can sit down now.
Phew, that's a long walk to freedom. Thank you so much, Director of the program. And of course, allow me to stand on the protocols that have been announced, but highlight a few guests that we have here who are very important to the cause that we are about today. The Chancellor herself, a big sister in our struggle, a woman who has walked the path in ensuring that not only do they deliver the political freedom to our people, but they also give us a great constitution that has brought us where we are today. Thank you, Sister Sheraton. Allow me to also recognize our councillor here, Councillor Kamana, who, I didn't see him, but he's around, representing the mayor. Of course, the chair of the council, Sis Nambita Tambuza, Vice Chancellor, our Prof. DG. We are here about women who have really given their all in the freedoms that we are enjoying today. She was a Director General of this province. She has done great things to improve the lives of the people of the Eastern Cape, and we thank the university for seeing the need for her to bring that experience academically with experience, because it always brings a difference when you have someone who knows the framework, but someone who knows how the framework works in the true living that we have. Deputy Vice Chancellors, of course, the President, my dear blesser that side, Mr. Simon Lee. Yes, we do want progressive blessers, progressive ones, that, I mean like the real blessers, that impact positively on our lives. You've already heard about the work that they've done here. And of course, I want to recognize Mr. Michael Atuku, who has really traveled to make sure that he doesn't miss this important occasion, of course, with the commitment that he makes. The trustees of the Nelson Mandela University Trust, members of the Executive Management Committee, industry partners and entrepreneurs, distinguished guests, alumni, and members of the media, good evening. Are you okay? All right, I must say that it is a profound honor to join you this evening at an institution that carries the name of one of our greatest sons. I mean, like when you stand up and say, I come from the province of Nelson Mandela, it's worse when you say, actually I went to school in a university that is named after him. People begin to take you serious because they expect you to be greater than him, because he has laid the foundation. And this is the man who understood that freedom without economic participation is incomplete. Ladies and gentlemen, we gather here at a moment of cautious optimism. Just 2 days ago, we celebrated the news delivered by the Minister of Finance, Minister Kodongwana, who announced great things for our sector, starting with the compulsory VAT registration threshold that has been increased from 1 million to 2.3 million. I do hope you understand what that means, entrepreneurs. Less time of paperwork, more time building businesses, and of course, a great back to your business, and please make sure that you spend that money wisely. Don't invest where it won't give you a return on investment. It is money that is meant for business. Of course, a few weeks ago, President Ramaphosa reminded us in his State of the Nation address that the green shoots of recovery are visible. The removal from the FATF grey list, the upgrading on ratings, energy and logistics reforms are gaining traction, and investment sentiment is improving after our successful G20 and Startup 20 engagements, which you have your professor who is responsible for the center, Professor Lose, being one of the deputy chairs that led our SU20. You continue to make great things happen in this university. South African equities have experienced their most sustained growth since 2013. After the dark years of state capture and COVID-19, we have turned a corner. We're not where we want to be, but we are beginning to see the shift. But as we do that, the global landscape is shifting. We are witnessing exponential technologies, geopolitical fragmentation, and a pivot toward regional value chains. Our country stands as a strategic gateway to a continent poised to become an economic powerhouse. Yet, we are lagging. Our projected growth of 1.6% is insufficient. You have heard about the challenges that we have. You know, you experience them. We therefore need to reach 3% at least, then increase to 5%, the threshold where unemployment declines and incomes rise. And this is why we must continue to work together. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that our greatest constraint is exclusion. Markets remain concentrated. Entrepreneurs without track records, predominantly black-owned, youth-owned or female-owned, they struggle to access capital. To place our economy on a higher trajectory, we need another 3 million MSMEs. The National Development Plan projects that 9 out of every 11 jobs that are needed by 2030 must come from small enterprises. And Chancellor, I'm not saying this because I'm the Minister for Small Enterprises. It is the National Development Plan that said government can never be able to create the jobs that we need. Private sector on its own can never do it. It is small enterprises that will be able to give us the jobs that we need. Every time we complain about high unemployment rate, we should start asking, where are we spending our money? Where do we invest? Are we supporting the small enterprises so that they can create jobs? If you are not spending on them, you must know you are responsible for the high unemployment that we see in our country. And I want to tell you that as the Department of Small Business Development, we had pledged to support 1 million MSMEs. People continue to say SMMEs. And that has been changed in this beautiful country of ours with the legislation that was passed and signed by the President in 2024. And I recognize my duty there before I lose my job. As we support 1 million, we also pledge to disburse nearly 9 billion rands through CIDFA, our agency, to entrepreneurs of our country. Of course, we'll be launching new instruments, including a 300 million rands Youth Entrepreneurship Fund a year. I'm making this announcement because most of the time the entrepreneurs we have in universities are young people. I'm preparing you to take interest in what the Minister of Finance announces, what the other ministers will be talking about, but also what, as the department custodian for small business development, have pledged that is there to support you as young entrepreneurs of our country. But in all of that, all these ambitions, targets fall short. Government alone cannot do this. This is why we have adopted an ecosystem approach through the National Integrated Small Enterprise Development Framework with different pillars and 5 game changers. We have said we're going to leverage on partnerships with universities, the private sector, and entrepreneurship support organizations. It is so painful as you drive past some streets and you come across a robot, and there's a young girl or young woman and a young male who have their gowns. I'm a BCom graduate. Hire me. You begin to ask yourself, what happened to our society? What happened to our education, Vice Chancellor, that a Bachelor of Commerce graduate can stand on the streets and look for a job? There is something wrong with that. It could be expected from humanities, but not from Bachelor of Commerce students, which is why it is important to really look at the curriculum Are we providing certificates to young people, or are we giving them knowledge? Because as government, we spend a lot on education because we want to build a knowledge society for these educated people to be able to advise us on policy, but also help us to create that conducive environment for all the citizens of our country to thrive. That's why we say educated people should be beacons of hope in their area. We do understand that our economy is not performing very well, but we've got to work together to change the mindset that, as the Chancellor has said, we shouldn't be producing people who are looking for jobs. We've got to produce people who understand how our economy performs because they are educated. We should produce people who understand that this economy and these jobs will be created by small enterprises, and therefore entrepreneurship should not be a last resort because you're not getting a job. It has to be deliberate, intentional, from the very onset you go to school. You should choose that I want to be Michael when I grow up, because there's an inspiration, but most importantly, because you are looking at the challenges that you are faced with and your community is faced with, and it is through understanding the challenges that are there and knowing what exists so that you identify a solution, and that becomes your business proposal. Innovation is the way to create a working economy. Program Director, this year marks 30 years since the adoption of our Constitution, 3 decades since we chose forgiveness over vengeance, and lay the foundation for a society based on human dignity, equality, and freedom. The preamble of our Constitution opens with 3 words that carry the weight of our entire democratic project. I do hope you know what's the preamble of our Constitution. I've had so many people misinterpreting the Constitution that I've made it my responsibility to remind all of us about the preamble so that when we begin to talk about the rights, we understand the context. Why did we come up with those clauses in the Constitution? And it says, and I quote, "We, the people of South Africa." Before it says anything, it says, "We, the people of South Africa." And I want to tell you that these words are not merely ceremonial. They are the foundation upon which every right in our Constitution rests. They declare that sovereignty belongs to the people, not to government, not to corporations, not to the powerful few, but to all of us, united in our diversity. And the preamble continues, "Recognize the injustices of our past, honor those who sacrifice for justice and freedom of our land, respect those who have worked to build and develop our country, and believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in our diversity." It starts with, "We, the people of South Africa." So as you continue to read that, have that at the back of your mind. This is the moral foundation of our democracy, a recognition of where we come from, and a commitment to where we are going. As we're growing up, we have this slogans that we have, that we are proud of our past, but more confident of our future, because it is the future that we are choosing to build. And believe we the people are sovereign because South Africa belongs to all, which means that all the constitutional rights that are there, they give meaning to that belonging. Now, I draw your attention to Section 22. I do hope you know Section 22 of the Constitution. And it reads as follows: every citizen has the right to choose their trade, occupation, or profession freely. The practice of a trade, occupation, or profession may be regulated by law. I said we are celebrating 30 years, and I want to link everything. As I said, I thank our Sister Geraldine for the work that they did, giving us the Constitution that has paved the way for us to be where we are. But it's important that as we do that, we keep on understanding the rights that we enjoy, that they come with responsibilities. My responsibility is to make law. So bear with me if I stay much on that. Section 22, the right to trade, is what brings us here, because we are here to launch a fund for entrepreneurs, and it gives a meaning to that section that I spoke about. It is a constitutional promise of economic participation and citizenship, a promise that flows directly from that opening declaration, we the people, that the path to economic participation should be open to all, not just those with connections or inherited wealth. A promise that a young person in the Eastern Cape has the right to build an enterprise as anyone else in this country. But note the second part. The practice of a trade, occupation, or profession may be regulated by law. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you this for free. Regulation is not a barrier. It is a protector. It ensures that the electrician who wires your home is qualified, that the food vendor at your school meets health standards, that the financial advisor handling your savings is accountable. Regulation builds trust, and trust builds markets. That is why we have to make the law and regulate, even when others feel uncomfortable with it, because we have a responsibility to protect our people in terms of the economic emancipation that we're pledged for. The challenge we face is ensuring that regulation enables rather than excludes, that it does not become a gate kept by the privileged, but a gateway for all who are willing to learn and comply. And this is where we need your participation, especially educated people. They stay away from the development of the law processes, and yet they complain a lot when they don't get what they want. The Constitution that we have made it clear for our people to participate in the development of legislation. That's why I keep on going back to where we, the people, because it's not about government, it's about the people of this country that should be able to enjoy their rights in a meaningful way. But to do that, because you know your situation better, you know what will work for you better, you've got to come to the party, work with us so that when we develop those policies, when we design funding instruments, they consider your own situation and what you would want to achieve. For 30 years, the full promise of our Constitution, the preamble's vision of a country that belongs to all the people, and Section 22 guarantees that economic freedom has remained aspirational for too many. The Chancellor's Entrepreneurship Fund is about making it real. It's not a clause in the Constitution anymore. It's giving you an opportunity to say, I am here to enjoy those rights that others died and fought for. I am giving effect to Section 22, and I'm going to enjoy it. The Chancellor has laid the foundation for that. It's about ensuring that every young person can not only choose their trade freely, but can practice it with dignity within a regulatory framework that protects them and the public they serve. Now, as the Chancellor has said, we must graduate job creators, not job seekers. Universities must instill entrepreneurship because they are ecosystems in miniature, concentrating talent, ideas, and networks. Our challenges are markets in disguise. Every problem is an innovation to innovate. If you don't see a problem, there's no way an entrepreneur will be successful. A problem presents you an opportunity to think deeply about how to solve the problem. Universities anchor place and community, transforming not just students but entire regions. Entrepreneurs who participate in incubation programs have significantly lower failure rates. When we say, as the Constitution says, we the people have the right to economic participation, we are saying that universities have a duty to equip all people, especially young ones, with the tools to claim that right, which is why it's about education, not certification. Vice Chancellor Mutwa, I acknowledge what is happening on this campus. Last year, the Center for Entrepreneurship and Rapid Incubator has delivered. 1,330 students, entrepreneurs were trained here. 59 businesses were incubated, 85% student-owned, 85% of that 59 were student-owned, over 11.6 million invested by the university. And this is why we jumped. Because when you take leadership as the university to say you're going to put money into entrepreneurship, we have no reason not to join you as the champions for small business development. Ladies and gentlemen, these are not statistics. They are stories of our young people choosing to build something of their own, just like Nelson Mandela and their own comrades, who chose their own path so that me and you today are beneficiaries. These are the generations that say we are people in action. Tonight, Nelson Mandela University again proves why it is our premium entrepreneurship university. They didn't just get the title. It's because of the commitment, the dedication, and the resources that they put into giving effect to that. The Chancellor's Entrepreneurship Fund will provide students with practical tools, mentorship, and resources to translate academic qualifications into business opportunities. Commerce graduates launching enterprises, engineering and IT graduates building tech startups, health science graduates creating community clinics, education graduates developing tutoring platforms, social work graduates establishing social enterprises, creative arts students launching design studios. All these are required in our own country. We just have to have a mind shift, not look for an employer, but make sure that we use the knowledge acquired. This fund is a practical tool to address youth unemployment in the Eastern Cape and South Africa to benefit those that are studying in this university. Its timing could not be better. But of course, a fund requires resources. So these little papers that you see there on your tables, they need ink on them. To the industry partners, alumni, and distinguished guests in this room, I'm not here only to celebrate. I'm here to call on you to give effect to the preamble that declares we the people of South Africa, not some of the people, which means but all the people. As I said, the right to choose a trade freely and the regulation that protects us. But without resources, those rights remain abstractions. Tonight, we have an opportunity to give them substance, and you can choose to be part of the winning team. The young people of this province and this university are ready. They have ideas, the energy, and the determination. You're already shown at the back there, and there's a lot that they do. They clothe me, they give me cosmetics and many other products that we consume from them. What they need is capital and mentorship and market, which is available in the different portfolios. And this is where you come in, fellow participants. I encourage every person in this room to make a financial pledge to the Chancellor's Entrepreneurship Fund, whether you're a corporate leader, an established entrepreneur, or an alumni who remembers what it felt like to start with nothing. Your contribution will multiply. Every rand pledged tonight is a rand that will train a young entrepreneur, incubate a business, and create jobs that sustain families and communities. To the young entrepreneurs here, you are our highest priority. Over the past 3 years, close to 1.3 billion rands has been dispersed to youth-owned enterprises through our agency, the Small Enterprise Development and Finance Agency. We are finalizing our new Youth Entrepreneurship Fund, as I said, and I encourage youth representatives to help us shape it to talk to themselves. Because we the people includes you. Your voice matters, your ideas matter, your future matters more. Now to our fellow sister and dear Chancellor, Nelson Mandela understood that political emancipation without economic emancipation was hollow. He said, and I quote, "Overcoming poverty is not a gesture of charity. It is an act of justice," I close quote. 30 years after we the people declared that South Africa belongs to all and enshrine the right to choose a trade freely, that act of justice remains incomplete. The fund we launched today brings us closer to giving effect to what Madiba stood for. It declares that the young people of the Eastern Cape will not wait for someone else to build their own future. They will build it themselves, just like Nelson Mandela, who took it upon himself to fight against the system that was brutal. He didn't have a mother or a mentor, but he used what God gave him, but he understood that it's important to collaborate with other comrades, but most importantly, to remain resilient and dedicated. And that is why today we're talking about the days and the years that we celebrate under a democratic government. Now, I ask you, let us build together. Please, I know you have papers on your table. Stand up if you are prepared to make a pledge tonight. And I would want to look in your eyes and see that indeed, I've seen few people that have pledged. Now I want to request those that are prepared to walk this path towards delivering economic freedom to our people, the beneficiaries of the political freedom that Nelson Mandela fought for, to take the baton to ensure that our people are liberated economically. Stand up if you are prepared to pledge. Not in words, but in resources. You don't have to tell me if you're shy. I know there's lots of zama 30% in this area. You may be scared that they're going to come and ask for more. This university has taken a huge step. My department stands ready to work with you, Chancellor, and the VC. And this is why we are committed to policy reforms that improve the ecosystem under which small businesses operate. We've passed one legislation since our establishment in 2014. That at least gives us authority, the National Small Enterprise Act. We are working on the Business Licensing Bill, which repeals the Businesses Act, so that we can regulate trade in South Africa as people begin to fight against each other. Also because there's new industries that were not foreseen when that act was developed in 1991. And these are evidence-based and inclusive steps responding to real conditions to say there's a need for us to have a township and rural economic development policy that must guide how trade and investment must be driven in the township and rural areas. This is why we said there's a need for us to come up with the entrepreneurship strategy, because if we are to create 9 million jobs, we need a country's entrepreneurship strategy so that everybody knows the direction, and this is what we are responsible for. I said we are about making the law, and I know you just want the blessing aspect in terms of monetary terms, but at the center of these freedoms that must be enjoyed and be sustainable is ensuring that there's a policy and a legislation. That is why we are in a process of establishing the Office of the Ombuds, who must represent the small enterprises when they are victimized by corporates, by ourselves as government not paying them, by also everyone who undermines the work that is being done. And with your pledges today, we will ensure that our Constitution's vision, born from the sovereign voice of we the people, becomes not just words on parchment, but a living reality for every young person in this province. And before I sit down, I want to remind you of the words by Charlotte Manyamatlak. This work is not for yourselves. Kill that spirit of self, and if you rise, make sure you bring others with you. Thank you so much. Ndiyabule.
Minister, thank you so much for that clarion call to bold, inclusive entrepreneurship. And thank you so much for also reminding our esteemed guests this evening that they can be progressive blessers. Not just blessers, but progressive blessers. Are we ready to be progressive blessers? Okay, then I'm going to ask you to raise your hands to see, before we get to dinner, to see who is making what pledge. We've already had $250,000, we've had 100,000 rand as well. So can I see with a show of hands, there's a hand over here, there's a hand over here, and there's one over here as well. Can we get the mics to them, please? And remember to please tell us your name, the organization you're from, and what you are pledging tonight.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Hilton. I'm from a company called Growth Wheel. Chancellor and VC and the Minister and esteemed guest. Mine is going to be a little bit longer because I have a little bit of a story. In fact, VC, I saw are using Claude AI, that you have about 34,000 students. And so all of them will get free access via the NMU Hub to our business planning platform that's used for free, that's used by 5 million businesses around the world. Now, why does that matter? In 2005, the then Minister of Public Administration supported us in the open source policy of South Africa, the first in the world. And so I want to thank you, Minister, ex-Minister, I would say, because that propelled the world, and today we have AI because of your work. But I was very fortunate. I was proxy for Mark Shuttleworth, and because of your work, I met my co-founder. And this company, Growth Wheel, was born of the challenge that you gave us. And so today, not just in South Africa, where we have served 167 businesses through the DSBD and other partners in South Africa, in 2012, when we came back home, we were invited to this institution. And from then, we've supported a tremendous amount of businesses throughout the continent. A decade later, the university phoned us in December, and they said they had a huge problem, that they are non-compliant in BEE, and they asked us to help. The result was, within a year, the university became level 4, I think, competing with UCT in Stellenbosch. And in fact, it was the first university outside of that little premium circle. And so we were able to partner with the university on that. And then I became the deputy chairperson of Dr. Lucy, and we were able to come back again this year, and I met some of the individual guys here. I think part of that pledge requires a lot more, because I am from a little township called Tiervlei, Ravensmead, just in front of UWC. And I thank you, Minister, for being so bold in the vision that you support entrepreneurs. I would not be standing here if it wasn't for you in believing in what we're doing. And similar, Minister next to you has inspired most of us. Most recently, we sent the university an invoice, and so we want to take 10% of that invoice and commit it to this beautiful program.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Can we move the mic? Over there. You can go, sir.
I promise to keep it short. Igama ngumanelisi wakwaBili. I represent a young organization called, or a company called Billy Breeze. It's an events company. So we pledge to definitely always support entrepreneurship. I am a young entrepreneur from the township, Ewoma Township. So we do definitely pledge training or workshop support. We did as well today host our second day entrepreneurship event with the university too. We definitely do pledge mentorship and coaching. Also, since we are a young events company, we do prioritize hiring university graduates, grade 12s who just graduated from high school. So internship opportunities lie as one of our priorities. and sponsorship of programs or events, since we are an events company. So if you are hosting the next event, do definitely contact us. Below, please.
Thank you, sir. Can we get the microphone over here?
Yeah.
Yes, it's you.
My name is Tobegani Lose. So I'm from Nelson Mandela University. So I think my unit will be pledging $250,000 as well. Thank you.
Ooh. There's another hand, my brother, there at the back.
Can we have it written down so that we can collect it?
Minister, is that a hand? Oh, okay.
Nyamazu Pixu. Nankana Bandaman. I'm done about the man. You have said man around me. One man here. All right. Okay, now I'm going to challenge people to put money into the fund because we are planning to increase the number of entrepreneurs, right, Vice Chancellor? And we must make sure that we make money here, more money. President, you understand that, right? Now I'm going to challenge you, okay, I'm going to put 1.250 to add to that 250,000 by the entity, which is 1.5 in total, 1.5 million. I'm waiting for the president. I'm sitting next to important people here.
Thank you for that challenge, Minister. Who's going to join in on that challenge or even beat it? Okay, do you have a microphone over here?
No.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, good evening, Clement. My name is Luxolo Khubushe. I'm the MD of Adapt IT, the education. I don't think I'm necessarily going to beat the pledge from our minister. First, I want to commit to procurement opportunities for entrepreneurs from Mandela University to the value of 300,000. I want to commit to sponsorship of related events to the amount of 100,000. I also want to commit to internship opportunities for 30 young people from the university.
Thank you very much, sir.
Testing, 1 million, 2 million. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mandela. I'm the owner and the founder of Ndimbi Clothing. We're a fashion design and manufacturing company. Yes, how we work is because of our privilege of getting fortunate in raising capital through SIDFA, Nelson Mandela Africa Hub. What we do, because of our manufacturing capacity, the value we offer to high school, which we were successful in Woma High School, we offer free ICT services to high school, over 2,500 schools in Eastern Cape. We are offering these services of creating free websites for underprivileged high schools, primary schools. In return, we would want to manufacture their uniforms for them while giving them free websites where students can get access to their timetables, apply online as well. So that's what we share value with high school transition to university schools. So what we do is we do uniforms for them. So what we do is we are providing those ICT services for free. And number two, we are offering to share knowledge. They say the best education you can give someone is education. We want to offer the education that we've generated from nationally and internationally about business acumen, financial literacy to the hub for free as well. So that is what we are pledging as in the clothing. So come visit me and come collect our work as we are here exhibiting as well. So that's what we're pledging to the Chancellor's family.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to, if you've filled your forms, can you just raise your form, please, if you have already filled it. There are a few of my colleagues that are going to be walking around the tables to collect the forms, because this is how we hope to hold each other accountable. So if you have put your contact details there, you've indicated how you want to pledge, we want to take that form so that we can be in contact with you and we can ensure that we see that into fruition. So can I ask you, if you've filled it, just raise your form, and then we will come around the table to come collect it. If you haven't had the opportunity to fill it, we'll ask you after dinner to please just fill it up, and then we will come and collect it afterwards. Please enjoy your dinner in the meantime, and then we'll continue the official program. Thank you.